Right, so finally we went on a shore trip. It's the first one of the autumn, which is almost winter now. Well, some of you know the weather conditions have just been atrocious for 6 weeks, and when it has been good, I've been getting onto the boat to try and rescue gear and things like that. But anyway, yesterday the weather calmed down and it was really nice. There was no wind, clear skies. So I thought, let's go fishing, because I looked at the forecast for next week, and next week's atrocious again. So I thought I've got to take the opportunity. So grabbed my gear, shot down there, and then the wind came up and then it rained. But yeah, it made it very challenging, the actual location and the weather conditions to start with. And things weren't working out too well to start with, but we got through that, and then it kind of got a lot better as we went on, and it became quite an enjoyable evening. Now, if you're watching this on a mobile device, I'd advise that you try and watch it on a larger device, because the trouble with the mobile device is you're going to be watching, and it's being a nighttime video, it can be very hard to pick up detail on such a small screen. So you're going to find some parts very dark. I mean, you'll find parts dark, it is nighttime. But on a larger screen it'll be a much better viewing experience. Anyway, here it is. Black bream and chestnuts. Okay, so we started on the long slog down, although that won't be anywhere near as bad as the long slog back up. Got to go up about 200 to 300 feet back up. Anyway, we got this new O-light with us. I said we would try it out, see how good it is, and yeah, that's 400, and that's 1,000. Is it 1,000? Was it 1,200? Can't remember, but that's bright. I don't know how well it shows up on the camera, but for me, that's like a car headlamp. Anyway, I'm going to take it down again because I don't want to flatten the battery, because that 1,000 won't last that long. But could be useful. We get into a nice fish, plus I brought a bunch of spare batteries. This battery isn't actually full, because I left everything so late before I decided to come down here. I didn't charge up. Same with the camera. I'm going to be quite conservative with the filming tonight, because I do have a spare battery and the second camera, but that's all I've got. I didn't have time to charge all the batteries up, because it takes quite a long time to charge the batteries, because they do hold a fair amount of charge. But we're going to be down here for a while. Now, also, what we might do, we'll see when we're down there, but I might make a fire and cook up some fish. We'll see. We'll see if we catch anything. Look, there's a parasol there, coming up with all the rains. Interesting to see in October, or the end of October, nearly November. Yeah, so there's a bit of line hanging off there. I keep standing on that. Yeah, so we might do a cook up if we catch any fish. We'll see. It's something we used to do as, I say kids, we weren't kids, but we were younger. Used to come down here with friends, and we used to have a campfire overnight, catch some fish, cook it on the fire. You know, really, really nice. So, like I say, I might make a fire up and cook a bit of fish while we're down here, if we catch any. Right, well, one of the first things I want to do this evening is scratch up some bait, because I brought a bit of razor clam down with me, but I have a bit of squid, but it's from last year, so it's not looking at its best. So I thought I would pick up a bit of worm. That way it also opens up the opportunity for things like red mullet, that kind of thing as well. So I'll use a different pot. I've got a couple of pots in here. I might take some back for another trip, but the weather is due to get bad, and that might hinder us the next few days to get out. Although saying that, I don't mind it going bad like this evening. If it's getting up a bit, or starts to get up, it's normally quite good fishing just before a storm. So. Now, where's my trail? I've got a little trail in there somewhere. He says, you can see all the junk I've got to carry. Lots of junk. There it is. Tried to make it so I could get it easy. There we go. Put that back in there. That's all the camera stuff. That's the trouble with this filming lark, when you got to start carrying cameras and equipment. It's It's alright when there's more than one of you, but when you're on your own, it's a lot of slog having to carry all the stuff you need. Right, I'm going to get on with this, and I'll get back to you once we've got a bit of bait and we get to the fishing spot. Well, we've got some worm. It's not loads. Some of you on the UK beaches will probably use that up in a couple of casts, but it's enough. Right, I didn't think we'd actually find that much, because we've had too many storms and it's churned the bottom up, so there's probably been a lot of casualties in the ragworm this year, but it'll do us. And we've got the razors as well. Right, let's go and see if we can catch some supper. Right, any fishies while we've been walking? Might actually been to a fish. I just came to my line and it's gone slack. About to put the other rod out. So let's find out, shall we? Definitely something having a go at it. Well, we've got something. What is it? That's the question. Looks like an eel. Yeah, it's a tiny little conger whip. Not what I was hoping for, but hey, it's a start. Hopefully you can see that without too much glare, because sometimes the lights can give off a lot of glare. Just there you go. One little eel. It's tiny. Right, I'm going to get him off and get him back. Hopefully he won't bite me. There, he's off. Right. You'll see he's going in the weed there. I'll just get him down a bit further. He'll find his way. In fact, I'll pop him in that pool there. There he goes. When the tide comes up, he'll swim out because it's on its way in now. So. One babby eel. Right, let's get this baited up again and get out. I've got the other rod set up as well. I've just got a single hook on that one. Just for a little bit of razor clam on that. Try and do that stepping on my other rod. There we go. Right, well, we've caught a fish. Not my target species, but a fish nevertheless. Look, definitely getting bites already. I've only just thrown it out there. This is awesome. Will it be my target species this time? I'm not going to get the other rod out. Okay. Into something. Hey, looks like a small bream. It is a small bream. Look at that. Now, do we keep that one for eating, or do we wait for an even bigger one? I don't want anything too big. The problem is this one's actually just, I can see it swallowed the hook. So, it might be worth taking this one, because obviously it might end up being a casualty. Let me have a closer look at it and we'll decide. So, I mean, it's big enough, just, but let me have a look at this hook. Yeah, it's right down there. I think we might be cooking this one, you know. I'll see what I can do anyway. So I'm just collecting some wood, and this spot here, this is where we actually used to fish here, right here. And we used to light a fire here because it had all these stones, so we used to make a little fire pit out the stones and cook our fish here. It's nice and sheltered, but we're going to be in a different spot today because I don't want to get cut off. I'm not sure I will get cut off. I think I'll probably be alright today, but you never know. I'll tell you one thing as well. You find some funny things when you're around here. Look at that. That's incredible. Let me just check. Looks like a tomato, look. Look at it. Growing down here. Or a relative of the tomato, but it's certainly growing there. It's even got yellow flowers on it. Little microclimate here probably. Some of this is alright. So I don't want a too big a fire because it's only going to be a short thing really. I only need enough to do the fish. Look, something obviously feeds here as well. Look, I don't know if you can see that. There's crab shells in there, little brown crab, 2 of them. Been dragged in. There's actually a hole back there. Maybe it's a rat, something like that. Now if I was going to make a bigger fire, I could go up there. There's some tree branch, big trees. I don't know if you can see them from here, but there's quite a few. I mean, you can get logs. We used to climb down. We used to throw some wood down before we came down when we were going to do an all-nighter. I want to take the smaller ones. Like I said, they're more likely to be drier than the big wood that soaked up all the water. Just collect some of this. Right. Because over where we're going to go, you can't really get to the wood there. So that's why I've come over here. But I know the branches come down here. There's some here, look. It's a bit wet here, but these are dead branches that are hanging down. Look. You can see the way they just break off. That's nice and dry, so we'll take some of this. That's a bit wet. Yep, that's a nice dry bit there. That should do us. What I'll probably do with the fish is, I was thinking of cooking it whole. That's how we used to do it. But I'll probably do it in fillets. I've got a knife with me, so because the fillets will cook a lot quicker. So we don't need a really, really hot fire to cook the fish. Or less of a hot fire. But that bit of wood will do us. That's enough for a fire. For a cooking fire anyway. And on cue, we're getting some bites. Like I say, just before the weather turns bad, usually the fishing will be really good. That's why I don't mind it turning too bad. It's just a bit of an irritant, that's all, when you're fishing. I mean, we all want to sit in a lovely calm evening catching fish, but quite often the case, blowing a gale, then we catch fish. Oh, there's a fish on this. Definitely that moved off with it, but I didn't strike because I had my drag still set. Wasn't ready. Hey, a little bream again. Say a bream, it looks like a bream. Yee! Bream! Bream, bream, bream. And back he goes. And he's gone. Quick as that. just started getting some bites on this one. This is the ragworm and squid. I think I got one. Got a bit of both. 2 hooks and all that, you know. Make sure I drag is set. Done up, shall I say? I think we've been slack-lined. Yeah, we have. We've been slack-lined. I think it might be on there. Let's find out. There we go, it's not a bad one. Not a bad bream at all. There's a nice bream. They're not giants, but they're decent size. There you go, one black bream. Best one of the evening so far. Alright, let's get it unhooked. I say normally I would cook it whole, but I'm only going to, like I said, do a small fire, and I want it to cook sooner rather than later. So by filleting it, it'll cook much quicker. Set this up so we can carry it in one piece if we can, because we're going to fish over there a little bit anyway. We'll put the lines out while we're doing the cooking. So. Okay. See the water starting to come up where it would cut us off. Years ago it wouldn't cut you off, but the land's wearing away and makes it more difficult to get back. Back to the old school climbing. And we're up. Now to get my gear. Right, so we've got one rod out, the other rod's in at the moment. I'm just going to leave the one out, I think, for the moment. I'm going to set this fire up, and yeah, we'll be back when we're cooking. Yeah, here I have a handful of sweet chestnuts. You know, hot chestnuts, Christmas, all that sort of thing. So all I'm going to do with these is, again, bit of tin foil. Probably glaring like crazy. Now these you could just chuck them in the fire, but just to keep them together, I'm going to put them in this tin foil and chuck them on the fire. Now I'm just going to get a knife and puncture the skins just so they don't blow up on me. So, literally put them there like that, just close it up around them like that, and that'll do it. And then we'll chuck that in the fire in a minute, along with our fish. That's already wrapped up. Like I said, I filleted it because I want it to cook quick. I don't want to hang about. We used to do this. Now what we used to do is, when we didn't have tin foil, we used to wrap it in newspaper of all things, like the fish whole, and then soak the newspaper, and then chuck it in the fire, and we used to cook it like that, and it works. We used to cook fish in newspaper, wet newspaper. So, little tip for you there. Wet newspaper, or just bring some tin foil with you. It's not very hard to carry a bit of tin foil. I think we better let our fire build up now. I've put my fire down low in this cove because being where I am in Guernsey, I don't want anybody thinking there's somebody in trouble or anything like that. So it's shielded from the ocean and from the land where you've got a cliff behind us. So just something to bear in mind. Just make sure you make a little fire pit or have it low down. But yeah, now I would say I, you know, rubbed a couple of sticks together to make that, but truth be known, I just brought a lighter with me. There are various ways you can start a fire, obviously out here, but I wasn't going to start messing around with that. Just bring a lighter and light the flaming thing, or a box of matches. You should always carry maybe a lighter, a box of matches with you anyway. It's the same like when you go anywhere in the wild, you should always take a knife with you. When I used to live up in Sweden, I used to go out in the forest for long hikes and fishing trips and God knows what into the wilderness. You always carried a knife and a form of making fire, because it can get pretty cold. Right, well, almost ready for the fish. I think I can actually just put it down the side here, you know. Chestnuts I can, because I won't be able to get to them anyway, so we'll just pop those there. That'll do the trick. And we'll put our fish across in a minute. Now you can, obviously you could get your fish and stick it on a stick and do the old fashioned way of, you know, having it on a stick next to the fire, but a bit of tin foil always works. Just remember, once you've done this, make sure your fire's out and make sure you take all your rubbish with you, and that includes the tin foil you've cooked in. That'll do. And we'll give it a few minutes. Shouldn't take long. Now I need to get out and do more of this. Sometimes think about going back up to Sweden again. Go hiking through the forest, doing the fishing. Used to love that sort of thing. Trouble is, I'm not getting any younger. So yeah, our fish should be done pretty soon now. Well, we had a few fish. I mean, we're not done yet. I mean, I'm sort of not really paying much attention to my rods, which I should be, but you know. We'll check it out. Can you hear that fish? She's bubbling away. Must be almost done, to be honest. It won't take long in that. So, on tonight's menu, black bream, cooked on an open fire with some sweet chestnuts. Well, I'm thinking that's probably about done. So, judging where the steam's coming out of it. So I will let it cool down on the stone here. The chestnuts will be also probably done. Mind your chestnuts, you can eat them as they are anyway. Right. Now it might be a bit glary because I am having to use the torches. Ow, warm. Warm, warm, warm. Let us have a look at our fish. Oh, look at that. Look at that. done to perfection. A little bit stuck to the thing, but no problem. There we go. Lovely, fresh bream straight out to sea, cooked up. Let's have a look at our chestnuts while we're at it. These are going to be hot. Chestnuts are always hot. There we go. And our chestnuts. Now chestnuts, it doesn't matter if they're burnt a little bit. We don't eat them like that, of course we've got to take the shells off. But it doesn't matter if they're a little bit burnt because they'll be fine inside. Let's see what this tastes like. Let me just take this big light off and see if we can work with the little one. Yeah. Let's see the taste test. Oh damn, that's good. That is so good. It's all you need, you don't need anything with it. That is perfect. That ain't. Absolutely perfect, this. Well, it's been quite a challenging night with the rain, and these you just crack them open. Watch out because they can be flipping hot. Get that open. Just throw the shells on the fire. Get rid of the shell. And that there is sweet chestnut. It's very sort of yellowy, fleshy inside, and very, very tasty. Oh my god, those chestnuts are amazing. They go with the fish actually really well. Considering they are sweet, they do work with the fish. Gotta get some more there. More of this fish. I tell you, this is living. Doing this sort of thing. You know. Mind you, I've never been one for the sort of, I suppose, the city life or whatever you want to call it. We've come out, we've had a fantastic, well, we've had a lovely catch. The weather's been shite, but fishing's been alright. We've cooked fish up, we've cooked chestnuts up. What more do you want? The nicest thing about filleting it is the lack of bones. Yeah. That fish is good. So here's a question for you. How many of you have sat fishing at, if you can see that, 2:19 in the morning, eating Bream sweet chestnuts? Maybe one or two of you. But if you haven't, you should definitely try it. Right, fishing. we go. Nice little conger. Need to get this off and back in. I tell you, these days there's hundreds of congers, small congers. It's amazing how many there are in recent years, which is good to see. What bait did we have on this? Razor. Maybe it's a big flatfish. I know what it's going to be. It's going to be a big chunk of seaweed. But I can dream. We'll have hope. That is not seaweed. What the hell is that? It's a bloody great crab or something. It is. It's a whopping great crab. We're not going to get that up. It's a huge great spider crab this time of year. What the hell? Would you look at that? I've seen it all now. I've never caught one that big. Not off the shore. What the heck are they still doing here? Look at that thing. What a catch. That's got to be a 4-pound crab. Nah, maybe not 4, maybe 3. 3.5. I can get that out without getting pinched. There we go, it's out. Right. I'll tell you one thing though, it looks in excellent condition considering that it's out of season. That looks really good. But I'm going to put it back. I'm not going to take it. What a catch though. Let me turn that off a minute so you might be able to see it with this camera better. Look at that for a catch. One huge great spider crab. I honestly didn't think I was going to get that up the rocks. I thought it was going to snap off. Not a monster, man. So there you go. A successful trip. Like I say, started out a bit iffy with that rain and losing weights and things, but we had a few fish. We had, what did we have? Half a dozen black bream, a couple of congers, and that big spider crab at the end. That was quite an interesting catch, especially for this time of year. Now, probably the highlight has got to be those chestnuts. They were so good. I mean, the fish was good, don't get me wrong, but those chestnuts, oof, they were the icing on the cake, they were. But it was really nice to get out and do the old fire again. Like I say, when we were younger, we used to be down here every weekend. I say every weekend, pretty much every weekend. And we used to light up a fire, wrap up some fresh caught bream and that in newspaper, dunk it in the ocean, then chuck it on the fire, cook it up. We used to eat it like that. It's, yeah, an enjoyable trip. Only a short trip. I mean, I say a short trip, we've been in there a few hours, but I mean, most of that time is spent travelling, and now I've got to head up 200 to 300 feet of cliff, so I mean, I don't have to climb it as such. I've got to climb the rock first part, but once we're up there, it's more paths, so you know, taking it a bit easier these days. Years ago, they've been straight up a cliff face, but not at the moment. Right, time to go. Tell you what, this torch has done really well. This is the Olight one that's on my cap. I even took the other one off because it went through the batteries. But this thing, I've still got the 3 batteries in my pocket. The spare ones, I haven't had to change it. Admittedly, it's dropped down from the... I had it on the 1000 lumens for a while, but it kind of shuts it off when the power gets a bit lower, so it don't drain your battery. So we're actually on the 400 at the moment. I think it's 400, it might have dropped to 2, I don't even know. Don't even know. But no, it's lasted well. Anyway, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to look at their torches. It does seem their torches are very good. And this one's certainly working out really well. Right, I'm almost there. I'm almost at the top. Last bit of tracky road and then the car.